Hello guys, welcome to our class of number 13, and our game is basically finished. We just need actually to have some kind of a scene to game over and some kind of a scene to make a game win scene, and that's what we are going to be doing today. And of course we also need to finish and make a game menu. So when the player enters the game, we actually have something in the game for them, so they can choose something like they can start the game, or they can see the credits, or they can quit the game. So that's going to be important for us also in the game. We're not going to make it today. We're going to make it on the last class. All right, so what we have right now, it's basically we have the game. We have it with sounds, you can see right here, and I can shoot at the ghosts. I have a score. There is like 80 score right there. There is also some kind of a peak ammo right here. All right. So what I am going to do today is, if I kill every single ghost that exists in the scene, and I need to know that basically I can try to achieve that to know if there is any kind of ghost in the map yet with using find game object that we used before. If I killed every single or vanish every single ghost in the game, I need to go to a game win scene. So we're gonna need to make that scene. And of course, if I died before I kill the zombies, or I kill the ghost, it's going to show like a game over scene. Alright? So that's what we are going to be doing today. So I'm going to start with, I guess, game over. It's going to be they're going to be very similar in terms of what they do. Because they're going only to have like two kinds of informations. They're going to have a high score, and are also going to have your current score, and also a two button. So one button is going to go back to the main menu that we currently don't have, so it's going to be an empty button, and the other button is going to reload the game button. So basically you can try again, or you can retry. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. One way of actually doing this, and I guess it's a very cool way, it's instead of actually creating one scene from scratch, we can reuse the scene that we have right now and basically just change some different stuff. So before we start doing the game over scene, that's the first scene that we're going to do, before we start doing that scene, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here on file with the game scene open like this. I'm gonna go on file and I'm going to put save as, and then I'm going to select scene folder and I'm going to save this as game over. All right, so basically right now I have two different scenes. I have the sample scene, that's the one that we are right now, that's the game scene, and I have game over scene. So basically, if I open sample scene right here, it should open the same scene. If I open game over scene, it should open, it's the same scene, all right? But on the game over scene, I'm gonna double click on game over, and I know that I'm on game over because I have it written right here. What I'm going to do, I'm basically going to delete all the ghosts that I have on the map, and also the ammo, and also the rest of the ghosts. And I'm going to remove from the main camera the player controller. I'm going to remove the player controller script, the sphere collider, I'm gonna leave the source, audio source, but inside of the camera I'm going to delete the bit gun, I'm going to delete the gun camera, I'm going to delete the footsteps. Basically what I'm going to leave right here, it's only actually the canvas, that I'm going to delete everything that is inside of the canvas. So anyway, only the canvas property. You can even delete the canvas. We can create this from scratch also. But what is important is that we are going to need to have the main camera and the terrain. All right, so the rest you can delete everything, and you can remove all the scripts that we put there. Why? Because what I want to have is this. I want to have the scene with the map and only with the camera and the sound of the birds. Alright, so that's the only thing that I want to use. Of course, if you want to create a new scene and create the terrain all over again, you can. There's just a better, faster way actually of doing this. So basically, I'm just gonna move a little bit my camera just so I can have kind of a better viewing of, I don't know, the map. Alright, I think this is cool. Okay. So yeah, basically that's what I'm going to be working here. So let's start doing the game over scene properly. What actually it's going to have specifically on the game over scene. So here on the game over scene, I'm going to go on game object. I'm going to go on UI and text on canvas. So I'm going to create a canvas all over again. That's why if you wanted to reuse the one, that's okay. But if you want to delete everything, that's also okay. You can create all over again. And the thing is, I'm gonna put the title. Right here, I'm gonna use Arial font, but you can download an extra font and replace it so it looks better, all right? I'm not gonna do it in this class, but it's very easy. You just replace here on font. And basically what I'm gonna do with the text is going to be, I'm gonna turn the text white. I'm gonna make the text appear on top. So right here, but of course, I'm gonna make it down a little bit. I'm gonna center the text and I'm gonna make it very, very big. So it's going to fulfill the area of a text actually, and make the font big. All right. So that's going to be game over. So I'm gonna put game over. All right. And then the game object text, I'm going to rename this to title. And that's basically going to be game over. All right. Once we have game over, of course you can do it in any kind of way you want. All right. It's not really. You can maybe change to red or yellow. I don't know. You choose. Maybe using a little bit of transparency right here. I think that's might be cool. Okay, I think that's cool. And then what we're going to have, we're going to have two different buttons. One of them is going to be retry. So this button is going to lead to the game scene, to the sample scene again. And the other button is going to go to the main menu. Right now, we don't have a main menu. It's not going to go anywhere. But anyway, we're going to do this later. Here on canvas, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go and put, let's say, UI button. So we're going to have a button right here. Just to make a little bit different, I'm going to change the tag. I'm going to first change the name of the button. It's going to be retry. All right. And the color of the button, it's going to be black. And the text that is inside of the game object right here, it's going to be white. All right. And then it's going to be retry. And then, of course, we can make this button bigger. Okay. All right. Once we do retry, you can just double click a Control D or go here, right click, duplicate. And then the second we can call like main menu. And then make the button down a little bit. And change the text to menu. Oop. Okay, so we have two buttons. One thing that we also need to have in the canvas is two texts that is going to be one to the high score and the other ones is going to be the currently score. So I'm gonna right click on the canvas, UI, text. I'm gonna put like high score. Then again, middle, white. I'm gonna make the text bigger. So like this. Then maybe we can put like the name, like a color, like yellow color. It's not appearing, maybe bold. Yeah, as you see, it's not very, it's difficult to see because we have like the scene behind of it. So we can create in Canvas an image, and then we can make this image go all the way right here, and then put the high score inside of the image. Yeah, so we create an image and we just put the high score inside of the image, and the image, you can call it panel, just so we have a little bit of more contrast in the image on the high score. Okay, so this is going to be high score. Then let me see, probably the panel I'm gonna put it black. All right, and then the color of the letter is going to be kind of a grayish. Okay, so it's going to be high score, like 100 or 1000. I don't know. It's not going to show the high score right now. And like a score. Okay, so high score is going to be very similar. The only difference that is score is going to be white. So it's not like show up the same way. And instead of showing the scores, it's going to be score like this. Okay, so game over, high score something, score something. We're gonna edit this with a script, and let's go put our hands into work and actually make a new script for it. Okay, so one thing, the panel right here, I'm gonna make the alpha a little bit transparent. Yeah. Again, you only need the elements, okay? The way that you put it on screen, or the color, the position, does not really matter. It just matters that you have the element on your scene. That's what is important. All right, so let's go to scripts. Here on scripts, we're gonna have like a lot of different scripts. I'm gonna create one new script. It's going to be final. It's gonna be final scene. I'm not gonna put like game over, just because I want to use the same script to game win also. Okay, so I'm going to try to reuse, because if you think about it, they are going to be kind of the same scene. The only difference is going to be that they don't have game over. They have like congratulations or game win, something like this. But in concept, they are all going to work the same way. It's going to show high score, it's going to show score, it's going to show retry and menu. Of course, you can change them, but in logic, they're probably going to work the same way. So one of the things that I need to do is I'm going to need to have in our scene the inputs of the text of the scores. So I'm going to have one variable text that is going to be not text alignment, text only, and it's going to be high score text, right? And the second variable gotta be score text. Okay, and of course it's showing red because we need to install the library. Alright, so we have high score text, and then basically what is going to be done is what we are going to do, it's that our high score text, it's going to use something that we don't have right now. I'm going to teach you. It's that we can save information into our computer and then pick the information again. It's called player prefs. If we use player pref set float, we are saving information into the computer. If you're using get float, we are picking information from my computer. Okay, so right now we don't have the high score position, the high score information, but that's okay, because this function, if it doesn't have the information, it returns something default, like I'm gonna put 0, but it could return 1000, I don't know. But we're going to use set to save information, and we're going to use get to get the information. And that's kind of works the same way as variable, but the difference is that the variables is being clean every single time that you play the game. This is not gonna be clean. This is going to be forever. All right, so it's gonna be it's gonna save on the computer. So you actually on the game data. So it's called player prefs. So player prefs. I'm gonna set float, and then the name of the space in the computer that I'm gonna call it high score. All right, and it's trying to actually, it's not set float. All right, it's get float. It's trying to get the information of high score. If it does not find, it's going to return 0. All right, and of course that's a float, so we're gonna need to put something like high score plus something like this. All right, and basically the same thing for the score. Okay, so it's going to be score space then player prefs get float score 0. All right. Oh yeah, it's not text. It's txt. Okay, what I did wrong? I don't know what's wrong with my script. It's not text. Yeah, like this. Okay, like this is cool. All right, so that's our final scene. One more thing that we need to do, we're gonna need to put new functions. So I'm gonna put one function is going to be retry. So the name of the function is going to be retry. All right, and then basically what this is going to do is going to load level of name sample scene. All right, so this is just going to load level. It's going to be like yellow because it's an obsolete method, but we can use it, no problem with this. In order to load level, like the way that we are doing right here with sample scene, we're going to need to add them inside of the building of the game. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here, build settings, and then here on scenes in build, you see that is empty, and I'm going to add open scenes. Right now it's game over, but I'm going to save this. All right, and then I'm going to open sample scene. You see that's our game, and I'm going to go and add it again. And here is the order in which they are going to load, and basically I want the sample scene to load first because it doesn't make sense. Okay, so on game over, in order to have the script in the game, what we're going to do, we're going to create a new game object that is going to be empty, and is going to be something, you can call it game manager, and anything. Like, it's just going to need to have the script. So here on the game manager, we're going to put final scene. We're going to link the high score to the high score text and the score to the score text. And then on the retry button, we're going to on click, we're going to add a new function, drag game manager, and add the new function on the final scene that is going to be retry. So what it does, it basically, every time that you click on the retry, the button, it's going to call the function retry from the game, from the class final scene, component final scene, from the game manager. Okay, so that's how you link them. Okay, so once we do this, if we play the game right now, we should have something like this. 0, 0, because basically we don't have information of them, so it's gonna be 0. If you click retry, we go to the game. All right, so right now what we need to do in order to do the game over scene, we need to go back to our sample scene, and inside of the player manager, I guess it is the player manager, yes, here on the player manager we got to basically check if the score is actually higher than the high score. If it is higher, we're going to save the high score again, so we're going to update the high score. If it's not, we are only going to update score. So basically what we are going to do is, if player prefs get float high score, by default it doesn't exist, is going to return 0. It's gray, it's lower than score. All right. So if the high score it's lower than the current score, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say to our player pref set float high score score. All right, right. So this is set. We just put the name of the information that we want and what we want to save. So we're gonna get information with an if. If the high score that is saved in the memory it's lower than the score, I'm going to save in the space of the high score the current score. So I'm just updating the high score. And also, of course, what we want to do, what we want to do always, not only if the high score is lower, we want to update our score. So player prefs set score, in this case, always score to score. So every time that we update the score, we actually save the score into this part right here, every time. All right. And also here on live, if we have damage and the HP it's negative, what we are going to do is if HP is lower or equal to 0, so it means that the player is actually dead, it doesn't, it's below 0 the life, application is going to load level, and this time is going to load game over. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Like in game over, in the final scene, we are loading sample scene if we click retry, but in game, if life is lower or equal to 0, it's going to load game over, and both are in the building settings. Okay, that's important. To use load level, you need to have the scene in the building settings, so both are there. All right, so I think it's good to go. Let's try to get killed by purples right here, just to go to the game over scene. So right here, right, let's go game over. You see right here that we don't have any score because we basically our score was 0. So let's try to have some kind of score. Okay, so score 10. Let's get vanish. Okay, so high score 10 and score is 10 because it's the high score. Let's see if we can beat the high score. So let's see if I can beat the high score. Okay, so score 60. But if I go to game over, 60, because that is the score, right? So let's go again and make like a less, only 10. Let's see what happens. Yeah, high score is 60, score is 10. So high score is actually saving. One problem that you can see right here, we don't have any kind of, we can't see our mouse because we are disabling the mouse in the game. So we are going to need to enable the mouse in the game when it starts. All right, so that's one thing that we need to do. In order to do this, we're just going to pick the function that we used before. Let me take a look. This is going to be lock mode. We're basically going to copy and paste this one, but like on start, instead of locked, it's not going to be locked, it's going to be none. So let's see if it works. Let's see real quick if it works. If we are in the game, so they're going to go after us. My score is 0. Yeah, it's not visible. Let me take a look if we can cursor. We can put something like visible equals to true. Yes, let's see what it does. Let's see if it works. Yeah, right now the cursor is visible again. Okay, so what you need to do is on final scene, the one that is in game over, you need to put like cursor lock state equals to none, so it's not locked anymore, and cursor visible is equal to true. So we can actually see the cursor in the game because if you remember, we are disabling the cursor when we have our game. We don't want to see our mouse in the game, but we want to see our mouse when we have our game over. So basically that's it. All right, well, okay, right now what we need to do just to finish with the game over, it's going to be very simple. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go on File, Save As, and on Scenes, I'm going to select Game Win. Okay, so it's going to be pretty much the same. I'm going to open Game Win. Okay, so again, game over, I'm going to open Game Win. And inside of Canvas, instead of showing the title Game Over, I'm going to put something like You Win. Something like this. Okay, very boring, but anyway, like that's going to be our game win. I'm just gonna save the scene, and also I'm gonna go on File, Build Settings, and I'm going to add Open Scenes. All right, so I'm gonna have like game over and game win. Just to finish the game, what we need to do, I'm not gonna do this in this class, but what we need to do, we need to make the game have a game win. So it goes to the game win, very similar to game over. And also we're going to need to have our main menu that is going to be similar to the game over scene as well. All right, so is for the next class. So thank you guys very much. I hope you guys like this, and I see you on the next class. Bye bye.